Hey everybody, it's Trevor here with the channel where every day is range day, and in this week's video we're going to be going through a quick overview of the Esstac Dump Pouch. Let's check it out. Alright guys, and as we get into this video, just going over through a quick overview of the dump pouch from Esstac. Just full disclosures up front, nobody sent this to us for a review or any kind of positive commentary. We purchased this with our own funds. Esstac didn't send it to us. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of my first impressions on this dump pouch from Esstac. Affectionately named the Skittles bag from Esstac. It's one of their products you can get on the website. You see I have it on my battle belt from Core that we recently did a setup video of. And going into a couple features of the dump pouch itself, it is of course designed for use on these sort of range or battle belt setups like you can see here. And one of the more pertinent features of any kind of dump pouch is its attachment method to such a belt system like this. Now this Core battle belt does have a bunch of MOLLE attachments, but you don't need any kind of MOLLE, PALs, or any type of attachment system to use this particular dump pouch. These mag pouches I have off to the side here use malice clips to attach onto the belt, but the dump pouch from Esstac just uses Velcro that you can see here wrapped around the back side. So I'll take it off of here and then we can talk more about the pouch itself. The Velcro is a pretty nice touch for this particular dump pouch and probably my preferred method for a dump pouch on this particular type of belt. Just because you don't actually have to attach it to the PAL's webbing or your MOLLE with any particular extra type of malice clip or anything like that. And then it also gives you the flexibility to be able to slide it around wherever you have the real estate. And speaking of real estate, Esstac says that this dump pouch takes up about 2 MOLLE sections or so. And looking at the belt here, that now that I have this off, this Velcro section takes up closer to 3 sections, if you ask me. But if you put it right on the seams, I guess you could call it 2. But that's just something to keep in mind for the real estate on your belt. So I'd call it more like 2.5 sections if you ask me, but 2's close enough, I suppose. But I do like the Velcro overall. It's particularly nice on something like the Core setup where you have a bunch of belts and Velcro wrapping around, that you can use this Velcro to wrap in and around all of the different inner and outer belts that make up that setup. So you're not actually losing any contact real estate when you're wrapping different things around your belt. If these were just bungee clips or something like that, that would cover the Velcro. And then the inner belt and outer belt wouldn't actually be able to interface at that intersection with these straps. Since you have Velcro here, you're all good to go. And I kind of like that, particularly with my own belt setup. The last thing about the attachments, there are 3 different loops of the Velcro here that you'll be able to use, and a nice wide strip that'll hook onto some hook Velcro on your belt. This longer strap here is used to roll the bag up in a manner that you can see right here. I won't really be using this too much when you're actually on the range. It's more of just a storage feature if you ask me. I don't really see the point in having a dump pouch on your belt and then just having it rolled up. If you're not using it, might as well use the real estate for something else. But it's there in case you're needing to store it. That being said, it is a rather simple dump pouch all in all, and Esstac alludes on their own website that what's the point in having all the fancy bells and whistles? It's just a dump pouch. You're probably just going to be putting spare mags, maybe a box of ammo, a water bottle, and some gloves in it anyway. Why do you really need all these different kinds of features when you can just have something plain and simple? And I'd read out their description on the website. It's actually pretty funny. But moving on from there, again, I have mine in multicam black, and you can get it in a variety of different colors. Your plain black, tan, coyote, green, other multicams, things like that. And it does run of about $40. Maybe it's a little bit expensive, but it is a pretty quality product, especially when you get to hold it in your hands and actually feel the material. The material is a laminate fabric that they mention on their website, and it is actually quite stiff. You can see here it'll sit up on its own. It's not really one of those flimsier dump pouches, but that also means it's a tad bit heavier. Weight isn't really super significant when you're talking about something that's as small as a dump pouch here, but I have seen some other products from different vendors that are just like really thin, sort of fight light type material that you can ball up and store real neatly. But I'd definitely rather have something a bit more substantial. You know, it's definitely not going to rip or tear or anything like that. I mean, this stuff is definitely nice and tough there. That laminate material adds a bit more thickness, a bit more toughness, and I like it for that. Another benefit of the added rigidity is that the dump pouch is more likely to hold itself open, and that makes it easier to reach behind yourself and actually get a hand in here when you're needing to put something in or take something out of the dump pouch. If you have one of those pouches where the material is extra flimsy and kind of just like a plastic bag more or less hanging off your belt, it's going to fold up and close on itself, and that's just going to make it a bit more of a pain to actually use the dump pouch. In terms of size, if you kind of have the dump pouch unfolded in this sort of configuration. The opening's about 4 by 5 inches across, and the dump pouch itself is about 8 inches tall, if you're curious about how big it is. In terms of capacity, on their website, they have a picture of 5 magazines fitting in there. I have 6 on the table here, so we'll see how they fit. 2, 4 go in there quite well, and if you put a 5th AR mag in here, these are the hex mags, but they're similar to any kind of poly magazine, you can fit 5 magazines pretty comfortably side by side in here. Just a little room to wriggle around, and we'll see if we can fit a 6th one in here. You can cram one in there side to side, but that's not something you'll be able to do really easy, but there is enough room front to back where you can fit a 6th magazine in there, and that is 6 magazines of 5.56 or 223 in here. So roughly about 180 rounds of extra magazines if you wanted to put it here, but that's a lot of weight if we're talking like that. But nevertheless, that's a pretty good idea of what you can fit in there in terms of magazines. 6 AR mags is pretty good. And of course that's, probably twice as many pistol mags or Glock mags if you have the 15 or 17 rounders. You could probably fit about 4 or 5 bottles of water in here as well. An unlimited amount of candy bars pretty much, and what looks to be probably 10 pounds of Skittles if that's important to you. But otherwise it looks to be a pretty solid dump pouch, and the last feature I'd like to call out, aside from the glorious multicam black that I have, is that it does come with 2 holes on the bottom of the dump pouch. This might seem like a tiny feature, but it would be pretty nice to have something so that little bits of dust and dirt, and especially water, can drain out of the dump pouch if you're using this in the rain. The last thing you want is to be storing, mags or other bits, flashlights and gloves, anything that might have a metal piece that could rust, or just something that you don't want soaking wet. Throw it in here on a rainy day and you're carrying around a little bucket of water with you. It weighs you down, makes all your stuff soaking wet, and it could even rust stuff if it sits there over time. That's just a bad thing to have, and it's a tiny detail that can often be overlooked in other dump pouches. So having the 2 little holes down here is a pretty simple feature, but I think it's definitely one of the more important ones. Overall, dump pouches are more of a simple piece of gear, and it's really hard to go too wrong with one unless you buy something that's just super cheap and falls apart. The 3 main things that I like to consider when picking my dump pouches are: 1, the ability for it to actually stay open when I need it to, and the rigidity of the material for the Esstac definitely accomplishes that task. Another feature is overall capacity. I don't need to hold like a 5-gallon bucket worth of stuff on the back of my belt, but I also don't want something I'm actually not going to be able to use. Something big enough to hold maybe a couple mags, a water bottle, and some gloves. Really all you need, and this definitely accomplishes that. 6 AR mags is more than enough, and you could probably fit 2 or 3 with a water bottle and some gloves in here. No big deal, and that's all I'm really looking for this thing to do. It's not my primary method for carrying any of those, though it's more of the dump section for when I'm done with them. And last but not least is a nice and convenient method of attachment. These Velcro pieces go on and off of different belts very quickly if you're going to be switching them around, and the Velcro also plays very nice with the inner belt, outer belt setup that I have on my core belt. That's one of the big reasons I picked this, because it was going to interface the best with my belt and not give up any real estate for actually adhering the belt to the inner belt in that system. Again, it's pretty easy to use. The Velcro is handy to slide wherever you want on your belt, and it gives me maximum grip for actually putting the belt around my waist. Another good reason I picked it, maybe another reason you should consider if you're looking for a new dump pouch for your various war belt setups. Again, I just have this belt on my core battle belt. We also have one on our guest setup that we also have on a core belt. So we'll be running these more and more at the range. We just want to give you all a quick update on our own first impressions and a general overview of this product from Esstac. We're a big fan of their mag pouches and other stuff that Esstac puts out, and this thing definitely upholds their reputation for quality products that we definitely like having on our setups. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like down below, and if you have any questions about the Esstac Dump Pouch or would like to share other features that you like to have in your own dump pouch selections, please let us know down below in the comments. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel, where every day is range day. Thanks for watching.